If you are in the market for a house, you are likely extremely frustrated. Not since 2007 has the United States experienced anything close to this. Just scrolling over to real estate subreddits, you can get a sense of the environment around the country. A lot of adjectives are being thrown around, the most common being insane, craziness, and posts like these which suggest that it's hopeless to buy a house for those who are in the middle class. Bidding wars are erupting, and it seems like any house put on Zillow sells within days. In today's video, we answer the question everyone is asking: is this a bubble? We also look over some newer pieces of information to get an idea of what is to come in 2021. We start with a very recent interview with the Chief Economist of Realtor.com. Before we begin, we have to understand that at least part of the reason we are seeing this market craziness is because of low inventories. There just isn't many houses for sale right now. Looking at the monthly supply of houses chart, you can see this very clearly. We are at extremely low levels. Should we expect inventories to rise? Here is Daniel Hall's answer. Her audio quality wasn't the best, so I apologize in advance.
Is there any sign that inventories are starting to loosen up? I mean, if you want to sell your home, now's the time, right? I mean, you're probably going to get max money if you have a home to sell.
Yeah, the message for sellers is that now is a great time to sell. I think a lot of sellers have been skittish with having people in their houses as a result of the pandemic. A lot of sellers tend to be older, so they have those extra health concerns. Now that vaccines are starting to roll out, treatments are getting better, that's certainly going to help. The industry itself has also been very adaptable. We've seen virtual tours become quite common. People are looking at ways of doing business in a socially distant way, trying to manage those health risks. And of course, as those health risks diminish, that's also going to help seller confidence. Sellers are looking at all-time highs in prices. Already in February, the median listing price was up above $350,000. That's where we hit peak last year. It's extraordinarily early in the year for us to surpass last year's peak price. We usually have a dip in the winter for home prices, but we're actually already up above last year's price, and prices are rising at double digits. So those are challenging conditions for buyers, but it's great news for sellers who want to participate in the housing market and make a move now.
As you can tell, despite record high prices, which in theory should entice sellers to sell more, we are not seeing inventories explode. In fact, as she stated, prices in January, which is supposed to be a seasonally low point, are already breaking all-time high averages. This is not good news for buyers. Clearly, there is a housing shortage in the country, part of which can be explained by the rapidly changing demographics. The average age of a home buyer right now is 34. This means these millennials, which make up a giant portion of the US population, are now pent up in line to purchase homes, which simply are not on the market. Older people are staying in their homes far longer than experts anticipated, driving prices straight up. There is some good news, as Danielle explains in this clip.
I guess the problem is if you sell, you got to have somewhere to live, so you might just be buying in the same market that's just as hot, unless you're moving someplace where it's not hot, which I don't know where that might be. Are the markets, Danielle, that are still, is it still Florida? Is it still Texas? Where are still people moving? Or did they just go 40 miles outside of their city during the pandemic, and now they're no longer, Brooklynites, they're living in Long Island or the Catskills?
We have seen greater interest in the suburbs, and not just suburban areas, but these secondary markets that are outside of the metro area, but not too far away. So, for instance, a lot of New Yorkers and Philadelphians are looking at the Poconos region. So we've seen a lot of interest in that area because people can live and work from there now that remote work has become more common. In addition, parts of the South where we've seen building do a better job of keeping up with demand, those areas have done a bit better. And out west, we had started to see some tick up in new listings activity. Again, you have a lot of people that are considering remote work, especially in the Bay Area where companies have been a little bit more flexible. And so that's freed up some listings in that area.
In areas of the country where home building has kept up with demand, we are seeing spikes of new inventory. But so many factors are now combining to push prices higher and higher. Coming out of COVID, a lot of people are going to be left with remote work permanently. This may drive up demand even higher as it becomes less and less appealing to work out of smaller apartments or rented condos. Interest rates have indeed been pushed up slightly in recent weeks, but they still remain below 3.5%, giving the market an even bigger catalyst to drive up buying. Nearly every single real estate expert and real estate companies like Zillow, Realtor, and Redfin all agree the prices are going to go up almost 15% this year. Now, of course, no one can predict the future, And if 2007 was the case study, we know that nobody or almost nobody can spot and time the market bubble. Things usually blow up in what's called black swan events, things 99% of people and experts do not see coming. It's highly unlikely that we witness a housing collapse led by poor banking practices, as that just happened 10 years ago, and the market is well aware of the facts that drove us there. Instead, the next collapse will be driven by something unknown that is extremely hard to predict. Remember, the last housing bubble lasted for years, and while many could point to rapidly changing prices and call out this environment a bubble, it's not going to really help when things could go on like this for years and years. The Canadians up north are a perfect example of this. Since 2009, their market has done nothing but go up and up. Since 2008, the average home price in Canada has jumped 56% in 10 years, while in the United States, this stat remains at 24%. Yet the bubble in Canada still to this day has not burst. I show this example as evidence of what is possible. I know I'm going to get a lot of comments down below that explain the various reasons why this market is BS, but on this channel I focus not on emotions, but facts. The simple truth is that the housing bubble can go on for decades. So while you may think it's a bad idea to buy now, it may be an even worse idea to buy 5 years from now. There is no telling when the house of cards falls down. The keys to understanding all of these ideas can be heard in this CNBC interview with Redfin Chief Economic Officer Darrell Fairweather.
Welcome to you both. And Darrell, I'll just start with you. What jumps out the most to you about this home price appreciation that we're seeing?
It's just remarkable how strong the housing market is when the rest of the economy is in turmoil. And I think it speaks to how different this pandemic recession is from other recessions in the past. People have changed their relationship to their home, and we're seeing this big game of musical chairs where people are swapping homes to get what they really want.
So one more question on this. Are you seeing these gains across the country? Are they concentrated in the suburbs? Is there an offsetting effect in the places that people are leaving?
Home prices went up in every single metro that we track, but you do see a difference between the urban core versus the suburbs. The suburbs and more rural areas are much hotter than some of the downtown areas, and the downtown areas that are the weakest are in San Francisco and New York City. Yeah, that makes sense, Diana. As we know, we've been reporting on this for a long time now, for months.
Thank you guys for watching, and please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed. If you want to support the channel, please consider buying some brand new MHFin merchandise seen listed directly below this video.